Ladies and gentlemen, it's another castover, and it's another contestant. We are on the Underwood, and we are looking at Knight of the Realm versus Mystery Meat, who is Bongclouding backwards into a higher gas location. Might actually be slightly better mineral counts as well. So this is a legitimate thing you can do, especially in particular as Terran. So let's see what this TVT has in store for us. Now, don't make a mistake, it's not exactly efficient 100% of the time, but it can throw your opponent off, and especially if your opponent doesn't actually have supreme awareness of that, doesn't scout it super early, maybe isn't even going for a punishing rush, then you won't have like a build order loss, basically. It looks like Mystery is content to ignore the gas for now, even though that would be the main reason why you would go to this base. And I suppose this opens up another topic of conversation, which is, bro, if this is say this is a legitimately good strat because it just generally gives you more money in the long term, you probably want to beef this base up a little bit. And so I think I was already thinking I'll probably increase the minerals in the main. Yeah, I probably will especially do that now that I've seen this. I was planning some changes in that along those lines anyhow. Because I don't really find that the low econ status is particularly grand. But you know what we can do is we can just track the eco in general. So we're looking at a pretty low amount of money being no money being floated at all by Mr. Mystery, and he's got a barracks. And meanwhile, we have 300 resources. So I want to say like 13 workers. He's obviously got less workers in general. Obviously, one of his is scouting, so he's behind one worker at least. And it looks like maybe what are we seeing? It looks like a fulcrum first, probably. So we will indeed see that being thrown down. So yeah, so far I'm not actually seeing an economic advantage from doing this, which would be like the ultimate horror story, by the way, if you don't understand what I'm saying, is that it's literally better as a Terran to just ignore your main. Like, yeah, that would be pretty bad, but... so he's going to scout that he's been Bongclouded. I'm not even sure if he's aware that that's a thing, but that is indeed a thing. It's apparently something that happens in chess, is where most people will be familiar with it. And he's just going to scout and say, oh, okay, I figured it out. I understand what's happening now. So, now, honestly, the amount of money that Knight of the Realm had before he threw down his fulcrum is a little weird. And just based on that alone, I think Mystery might be maybe somewhat suspicious that there could be something happening. Like, he could expand now in Knight of the Realm, right? He's not, but he could. So he's also not, he's going to order a Goliath, which makes sense based on the amount of money that he has. He's not going to go ahead and order another... fulcrum yet because it doesn't have the gas, and not another barracks or anything. But there's also like this Mason. He could be perched over here to catch any units moving out, but will there be a move out? Not sure. And to the surprise of nobody, there's a star pad being started, because when you Bongcloud, you can't just cheese once. You have to cheese multiple times, right? So Mason is tickled. Goliath is rallied to this location to stand vigil over the bridge, which makes sense. And now it looks like this Mason has been killed, so there's no more scouting. I don't believe it even scouted the star pad because it was placed in such a location to not be spotted, but I wasn't particularly watching it. And that Mason also escaped. So, you know, not a crazy advantage, obviously. It's just the worker eventually goes back home. But, you know, it's always nice to kill the worker because you force them to send a different one out to scout further if they are going to scout at all. And if they're not going to scout again and they're just going to keep their worker, well, then that's one less worker they have to mine if you actually kill it, right? So the gas will be capped in the main. No such luck over here, but he obviously benefits from an extra ridge on this side. A second star pad being built. It looks like maybe it'll be an Antseal Flood. Although I imagine this first Antseal will be for protection, and then maybe there will be some Wraiths, or maybe a Trojan for dropships. Trojan is our name for the dropship. For drop play is what I should have said there. The Antseal is indeed going to be completed. I think Goliaths kind of destroy Antseals because the range that they can use to attack the Goliath, like they have 7 range, right? So on both of their weapons. As a result, when you consider that that's 2 more range than a Maverick has, for example, if you're going Bio versus Mech Terran, yeah, Antseals will extend your life, but if he has enough Goliaths, you know, there's 1 armor, but there's armor pen on the missiles, right? It's actually a significant amount of armor pen, which allows Goliaths to scale very late into the game. 150 plus 80 will be the general amount of HP that you'll see, which means we're dealing with 230 health overall. That means that you only need, what is it? It's 20. It's 24 or 240 rather divided by 20, which is the same as 120 divided by 10. So he needs 12 attacks. So 12 salvos, by the way, of missiles to deal with the ant seal. That's all broadcast math, is what we call it in the biz. It's all very, very fast math. So I'm not sure what's up with the idle worker, but that's okay. He's new to this. He's new to here. He's new. He has even walled off one of his own mineral fields. So he suspects that there is going to be airplay. It's fine, you know, it's good insurance, but that's a Goliath's worth of minerals, so that's another thing that he's got to watch out for. And he's also going to be fast approaching saturation on this base, right? He's probably already at that to that point now. The ant seals are going to go ahead and use this opportunity to scout to the right. He's separate from the pack. This is really dangerous because against a vulture, like, for example, you know, he's not even attack moving. Like, this is really, really lazy play from Mystery right now because you could just drop mines and then this whole area would be owned, especially since the ant seals, which are the detectors, weren't even in the spot to do anything about that. But, you know, the watchdogs will, at the very least, despite blocking this mineral field, which is actually pretty bad because it's a high yield mineral field, they will defend against the Wraith harassment. And let's see, you know, Knight of the Realm is probably going to scout the, yeah, he's going to be able to intercept the attack force there. The ant seal will even start to take some free damage from the watchdog, which also has enough armor pen to deal full damage to the ant seal. And another Goliath being built. Yeah, this should be a fairly straightforward fight, honestly, especially if these Goliaths can intercept the ant seals, which it looks like maybe Knight of the Realm wishes to do. Yep, he's going to start really chunking the damage there. There you go. He gets a... sees the infantry. There was an opportunity to just snipe that Maverick, of course, but didn't end up happening. Now, I'm not sure if the Wraith revealed itself, but it looks like a watchdog is going down, so, you know, kind of makes sense there. We already have one of the ant seals completely out of energy, but fear not, there's more going on. Don't worry about the spinning missile. That's just because projectiles don't turn to face ant seals. I was wondering why, like, somebody told me there was a Goliath projectile that just spun. Oh, this is really bad. He's just been totally caught unaware. He was trying to do a macro cycle. And he's actually dancing it around in such a way that really does expose even more units to pain, right? There's a single Huracan now, and eventually, I mean, it's really funny that there's so many. Yeah, okay, and then he just desyncs it anyway, so there you go. One of them even sniped on the way out. So funny stuff, but an impenetrable wall of steel, so to speak. Neo steel, in fact. That's what is it? Stratos Tygo, Skytech RTS over there. He commented on one of the previous videos. The secret ingredient is Neo Steel. That was Luciferius' comment, and the reply was, or the secret ingredient is Goliaths. The mystery meat is Goliath, something like that. Anyway, you go read the comments yourself, and in fact, put some of your own down, because otherwise I'll have nothing to misquote and fumble in the future. It really surprises me how loose mystery meat is being with the ant seals, and he's now opted to go for Mega Wraith, which is like probably not a good move. I mean, he can pick off some of the watchdogs, but does he even want to? Like, he can't do anything against the Goliaths, you know what I mean? So, neither of our players have bothered to expand. There could be a star pad of his own put down by Knight of the Realm. We could see that. That would be a play to at least detect the presence of the Wraiths so that he doesn't have to worry about that. But yeah, at this point, it's like, okay, the Goliaths are going to go marching. There's enough watchdogs here to, you know, I mean, maybe this one out here could get sniped, but I don't know if the other ones could. And I see what he's done now. He's deliberately attempted to clump up. But again, the Goliaths are able to deal with the ant seal shields. And, you've managed to pick off one of them, right? That is a thing. But can you pick them all off before he gets to your main, right? And so I think a bunker indeed is going to be started, and it needs to be. Hats off to Mystery for trying to station units at around these areas, by the way. You see how much sight range a single Maverick can get you. You could put it over here, but then you have less warning, and maybe it doesn't even show there. By the way, there's another skirmish down here. The ant seal's dancing in a way that is actually not very conducive. You probably want to like split them up a little bit and then cycle them around or whatever, but it's just not a fight. You can't really win fights against Goliaths of all things with Wraiths, you know what I mean? You're actually dealing, what is it, you're dealing 7 damage per hit, so it's not terrible. You saw that just like one salvo of each one of those Goliaths basically rendered all of the energy out from or half of the energy from one of the ant seals. The Huracan will eventually build up some more damage, but it's nothing really super significant. And now this Goliath is even going to spot the command center lifting, so that will have to back off, especially with some reinforcement Goliaths being rallied over. You can see, in fact, that the rallies are in this general location, and so yeah, he's not really going to be. He might be able to save it, but I'm not really sure if that's super advisable. You know what I mean? He's got a Maverick over here, funnily enough. He's picking off some wounded Goliaths. That's not bad. Something that I like to do pairing with Goliaths is, in general, I enjoy moving like a bunch of clerics with them. It makes it really hard for especially low DPS units like the Wraith to actually pick them off, right? And so we have a little bit of a desync here of the Wraiths versus Ancials. So I think another one did indeed fall, but nothing crazy. And, you know, Mystery's trying to maybe bait him by moving the CC over in that direction. He recognizes that he probably can't defend both his main and the rest of the right side of the map, basically. So he's just going to move it back over here. And so that could yield, you know, a wacky situation where Knight of the Realm moves a bunch of units up here and then it's not there, right? So that would be even more... That's like somehow Bongclouding his second base as well, in a way. You know what I mean? It's like, you thought it was here, but it's not. Not really the same thing as Bongcloud, but you get the idea. For whatever reason, Knight of the Realm still hasn't just shifted this over to the right by 1 hex. Maybe it might have to be 2. Not actually sure. But you could do it here, or you could do it to the left of the reservoir or something, and then you could put like one, you know, maybe here or something. I don't know. You could do something, but yeah. We do see Cyclops production kicking off in full swing here, and that is obviously to deal with the Wraiths. Tons of stacked DPS. AoE really destroys Ancials because, I mean, I think most Splash doesn't even proc on the Ancial anyway. It doesn't get protected, rather. But the other thing to note is that even if it were to get protected, it would still be draining all of the energy very quickly. So Mystery is pretty confident that his opponent has expanded, but his opponent has not expanded. Knight of the Realm still one basing it out. And, you know, a little bit of eco advantage, but the Cyclops are going to be spotted. It's been a while since Knight of the Realm has played CMBW, so I think there's probably a thought here where he might not know what even does detection since the ComSat station was removed. But I think I remember him being around. He was definitely around and aware that the ComSat station was removed because he was still working on his campaign, Butcher's Ballad, which has 4 missions available for play. Some wacky patrols happening over here. And yeah, interesting stuff. Anyway, we're going to have to wait and see what the results of all of this are. I'm not quite sure what's going on here, to be honest. But yeah, I'm sure he is actually aware of the Ancial being a detector. I mean, you can just click on the enemy Ancial and see detector, so it can't be the... It can't be super impossible. Now, he's looking to follow his army with the Watchdog, which is obviously going to be useful insofar as it'll draw some fire. It takes full damage from Wraiths because of the armor pen, but that's, you know, it's got decent stuff, decent stats, so nothing crazy. I don't know, just more Ancials pumping at this point, and he's Mystery Meat has indeed transferred over into bio-heavy army. He's trying to win me over, I think. He's realized that, you know, at the end of Fraudarchy, when he was a dirty bug abuser, or whatever, I don't even remember what the bug abuse was related to. I think it was probably hold position scouts or something, hold position panoptises. Or no, it was Didax. That's what it was. But anyway, he's like, dude, I know what'll happen. I'll send Pronogo this replay. I mean, he didn't even send it to me. So this is total fabrication. He's like, I'll just build nothing but fucking Hurricanes, dude. Ackmed will reign supreme. And so, you know, that is a way to potentially get, you know, win favor, curry favor with me. But you also want to win your games, you know. And so he's also, you know, I will admit, he's doing some entertaining things, right? He's Bongclouding. He's been, like, doing some funny bunker stuff in the past. And I'm not just saying that because this bunker is over here. Looks like no reaction from Knight of the Realm. He's not really super interested, but obviously there is a reaction over here. It's funny that he only showed up with 1 lifted Watchdog. I actually would have thought that he would try to go for more than 1. Cyclops are now engaging on the Hurricanes, and they're now totally picked off. So this is wild, but even if he just gets rid of some of this army, it'll be in a pretty good spot for him. I mean, the problem is that the Hurricanes are drawing so much ire from the mech units, right? The Watchdog is now desyncing part of the air army, so that's good. As well as some of the Hurricanes as well. They're trying to march up there and burn it down. So there you go. That's a meme comp, if I ever saw one. This bunker has nothing in it. It's just like there is to draw attention, which is funny. I do that sometimes too, just like aggressively posturing with an empty bunker, which is kind of a catch-22 because if you see that and you're like, bro, that's it. That bunker's got to be empty. He's just frauding me again. And then you just get owned because actually I wasn't frauding you. So it can go both ways, you know what I mean? So the Vulture pops out, but it's just going to get annihilated. Obviously, the number of wraiths is pretty intense, and the rally points are not in sync. So Watchdogs are being made again. There's a decent number over here, so wraiths are not going to find too much purchase, but, I mean, it really depends on the Anseal positioning. Army of Ackmeds coming in from the other side. This bunker landing. If you don't do anything about this bunker, right, you can indeed actually get into a situation where the Hurricanes can just walk up and use it, right? But in this particular case, it just like burns down helplessly. Still no mines being laid. You'd really like that, because if you fight over the mines, it doesn't matter that they can see them. They still auto-attack units more than they auto-attack mines, right? So that's always something to think about. And, you know, the Wraiths obviously can deal with it pretty easily, but like any ground units may just end up walking right into it, right? Still no Cyclopses in production. He's floating almost 1,000 minerals, and he just decides to say GG. So a puzzling end to the game. I feel like there should have been way more spending on Knight of the Realm's side, and obviously revisiting the Bongcloud idea, probably something that we want to take a look at and check things out with, is like maybe more minerals in the main, just so that it's not super desirable to Bongcloud in that particular respect. But I actually expect some players will just try to do that more often because of the lift speed thing. So what can you do? It's a unique trait to Terrans. And with that, we are going to see the score screen and hightail it on out of here. That was Knight of the Realm against Mystery Meat.